Hello and welcome to episode 113 of the Perth to Paisley podcast. Happy New Year to all the Heart and Midlothian family, and what a start to 2023 as Hearts served up the biggest margin of victory in an Edinburgh derby since the 19th of May 2012. And joining me, Adam Kennedy, to discuss the Jambos 3-0 victory over Hibernian at Tynecastle is Mr. Daniel McIver. McIver, how are you?
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
It's a fucking Happy New Year. I'm great. I'm so good. It was so much fun. I can't wait to speak about everything. How are you?
I'm good, mate. I've got to be honest, a little bit breezy. I think the weather forecast was reporting temperatures of, was it -8 in Leith?
Roughly, aye. Yeah, something like that.
So make sure that you wrap up warm, folks, because this is going to be a hard winter. Don't you worry about that. Before we discuss the latest damaging derby defeat in the potential catalogue that Hibernian Football Club could create on that particular subject, we're going to chat briefly about the other 5 matches in Scotland's top tier to kick off 2023. Not a great deal of action, it would have to be said.
That's one way of putting it.
The 6 fixtures kicked off with an Old Firm at Ibrox, Rangers 2, Celtic 2, a late Kyogo equaliser keeps the gap at the top of the table to 9 points. Rangers, of course, being just minutes away from trimming that down to 6. Good news appears to be coming in abundance for Heart and Midlothian with regards to Aberdeen Football Club and their festive demise. Would that be fair to say?
Yeah.
The Dons continuing to have an absolute disaster class over the festive period. The latest instalment being a 0-0 draw at home to Ross County, who are bottom of the league. Speaking of towards the bottom of the league, Kilmarnock and St Mirren played out a 0-0 draw for the second time this season. St Mirren won't be there, but Kilmarnock might be. And another side that also could potentially be towards that bottom end of the table is Motherwell, and they played out a 1-1 draw away in West Lothian against Livingston. And the final fixture was a Tayside derby, which saw Dundee United win 1-0 at McDermott Park. Hearts obviously broke their hoodoo, so now United feel it necessary to go there and win, courtesy of a late Tory Watt goal against his former club. They appear to be reaping the rewards toward that bottom end of the table. So McIver, what did you make of the other quintet of games before we talk about the main one?
I have no memory of Tony Watt playing for St Johnstone at all.
That's one way to start discussing the 5.
Yeah, but let's stick with that because that was mental. I just saw, obviously, most of these games I just saw through Sports Scene, but it seemed like St Johnstone had all the highlights and then Dundee United had one chance and took it. Which, in fact, listen, as the more games go on, it's looking like that point at Tannadice was actually a no bad result.
Yes, they'll get out of this, United, won't they?
Yeah, definitely. I think Fox has used the World Cup break really well. I said it last week, they've got bigger players back now as well and just seem settled. St Johnstone, I don't know what's really going on. They just are really topsy-turvy. But again, their early season form will keep them away from any danger, you have to imagine. So. Motherwell, I genuinely think this could be their year.
Yeah. The more as time goes on, I'm inclined to agree with you.
It's crazy. I honestly, I have no idea.
I mean, they've got a chance now, given Ross County are in the league.
True.
Hibs are in the league.
Yeah, very true. There are a bunch of teams that could compete with them for that title, but obviously, Nicky Devlin just can't take penalties, apparently. That was funny. In sense of Livingston, I'm just like, Martindale must be really frustrated because they seem to keep getting themselves into really good positions and then kind of chucking it away a wee bit. But again, they look more solid than most teams in this league. Jim Goodwin stopped the rot, at least. That's a positive. They didn't lose. But I don't know what's happening. I saw Christian Ramirez play for what feels like the first time this season. And that's
he was still there.
Yeah, that's when you know we'll get to it in our game. When players like that are coming out the woodwork and getting put into games for the start, you know there's a problem. Ross County I don't know where any points are going to come from, and meaningful points in terms of Wins, obviously, considering how well Aberdeen have done at Pittodrie, that's actually a really good result for them.
Yeah.
Regardless of the form that Aberdeen have been in. The Old Firm, I saw the first half, and I was saying to myself that Celtic looked like in a different league to Rangers at points in that first half. Like, it was crazy, the kind of gap between them. And at halftime, you were thinking this is only going one way. Then Rangers come at the blocks, and I've only seen the highlights, but from that, Rangers looked to be in complete control, and Celtic are grabbing it right at the very end. I think before the game, the title was done anyway. I think Celtic are winning this anyway, but with that equaliser, I think that definitely is it now. If they got it back to 6, maybe. I don't
keeps it interesting, doesn't it?
Yeah,
if they get it back to
exactly.
6, but I'm with you. I think it's done.
I think that's it. But yeah, it was. Despite the lack of goals in most of the games, there was actually quite a few talking points from every game. And Killy or Killy. There we go. Killian St Mirren or Killian St Mirren.
Nice, lovely way to conclude that.
Yep.
Conclude that quintet there, McIver. Let's be honest. You've clicked onto this episode. You don't really care about the other 5. Like, we're just brushing it over because 1, we're dragging it out the time because I'm too lazy. 2, it's nice to discuss other teams, see other goings on.
Erhon elbowed somebody in the face for no reason 5 minutes in.
Because it's actually of benefit to us. So this is like life's good.
Every result went our way. Literally every result went our way.
And for once, or it feels like for once, Heart of Midlothian capitalised in tremendous fashion. I believe it was 2 changes that Robbie Neilson made from the victory over St Johnstone. Those being Michael Smith in for Alan Forrest and George Grant being replaced by Barry Mackay in the starting 11, which meant that Hearts lined up as follows. It was Xander Clark in goal, a back 3 of Toby Sibic, Kai Rolls and Alex Cochrane, Michael Smith, Cammy Devlin, Robert Snodgrass and Andy Halliday across the middle, with Josh Ginnelly and Barry Mackay supporting Lawrence Shankland in attack. What did you make of that 11, McIver?
I'll be totally honest. I think that's our best team at this point. I think that starting 11, considering the injuries that we have, is our best team. So I wasn't shocked. I said last week I thought despite Forrest scoring, he would be dropped just because Smith would be back. Mackay obviously came on and won us the game. Grant missed a sitter for 5 yards. I can understand why Neilson would choose to swap that round. I'll be honest though, I mainly want to speak about the Hibs team because it's been the talking point. I was on my way to Tynecastle and my phone buzzed for FootMob and it gave the team.
Mm-hmm. I've got it here if you want.
Please run it through because it's so strange.
And I'm on FootMob as well. So It has Hibs as a 4-4-2, David Marshall in goal, a back 4 of Lewis Stevenson, Paul Hanlon, Rocky Bashiri and Will Fish. Across the middle, Ellie Yuan and Chris Cadden on the left and right, respectively, with Joe Newell and Josh Campbell in the middle of the park, and Kevin Nisbet and Harry McCurdy up front.
So when I first saw it, FootMob wasn't in a formation yet. It just had the list of players. And in my head, I went, have they changed shape? Because I was giving it Billy Big Balls last week saying, I know what shape they'll play. They'll play their 4-2-3-1. They never changed for the 4-2-3-1. This is what it'll be. And in my head, I'm like, bloody hell, they've gone to match us up. I thought they were playing a 3-4-3, much like or a 5-3-2 or the 3-5-1, whatever you want to call it. I thought
3-5 at the back.
Yeah, they've went to match us up because I saw Hanlon, Bashiri and Fish and went, well, that's 3 centre halves. Like, there's no way he's chucking Hanlon or Bashiri.
Cad on either side. Makes sense.
That's what I thought it was. And I was like, interesting, because the worry I had was that we were going to lose the midfield battle because they were going to have 3. But I was like, oh, interesting. They've kind of just lined up man for man. And then I get to the ground and see the opening 5 minutes. And I'm like, they're playing a back 4 and they've chucked in Will Fish from, like, there's obscurity and then there's Will Fish. Like, I couldn't believe that he not only played him in a derby, the biggest game of Lee Johnson's managerial career at Hibs, that he's chucked Harry McCurdy and Will Fish on from the start. Before the game, he starts speaking about how Harry McCurdy will either score the winner or get sent off. what's that? We'll get to Lee Johnson's comments, but what's that got to do about inspiring people? And I do really feel for that boy Will Fish, because you're hung out to dry. I know he hangs himself out to dry. We'll get to that, but that's so much pressure. And I think Nielsen must have looked at that team and just went, if we get a goal early, we've got this.
He's 19 years of age, Will Fish.
That's unfair, man.
Couldn't tell you if it's his first, second, however many starts. But speaking of starts, what an emphatic start, as you rightly alluded to. Robert Snodgrass and Alex Cochrane are looking to create on halfway. The latter sends it to Andy Halliday before, again, continuing his run. I don't know what it is about Alex Cochrane recently, but that guy, he is a man possessed.
Yeah.
Don't know what's happened to him. Andy Halliday's cross is a poor one.
Yeah.
Hibs look to clear before it is Harry McCurdy who picks it up. And then for me, this was just great to see. Some Australian tenacity kicking in as Akai rolls is all over McCurdy like a rash. He's forced backwards, sends it back to Will Fish, who, as you say, doesn't get a minute's peace from Cammy Devlin. He looks to usher it out of play. Don't know what's going on. 2 slide tackles later, the ball falls to Josh Ginnelly at a wide angle, who shifts onto his right foot, tries to bend it past David Marshall, and the veteran goalkeeper pams out into that 6-yard area. And who is on hand but Lawrence Shankland to stab home his 17th goal of the season with less than 8 minutes on the clock. Heart and Midlothian are ahead. You'll love to see it.
Ironically, I thought we were really poor the first 5 minutes. I thought Hibs started way better than us. Really poor, that's the truth. I just thought Hibs looked more up for it. But that goal, from a Hearts perspective, is everything you want. And from a Hibs perspective, is everything you don't want. From
Pretty much summed up the afternoon.
Yes, exactly. 100%.
It really did.
I'm really glad you mentioned Kai Rose, because I feel like he's kind of been lost in this goal because all the attention is on Devlin. But McCurdy just looks terrified that Rolls is still putting pressure on him. So he goes back.
Out. It's such an unexpected position to see Kai Rolls in.
Yeah.
If it was on halfway and he's right up against McCurdy, I could understand it. But it's almost as though he wants McCurdy to be the one to force it out of play.
Yeah, it's fantastic positioning from him. And then, as I say, it's clearly Will Fish has not started many games. We don't know exactly how many. It could have been his first, but it's no more than a handful. What you don't want is to make a mistake. What you don't want is to make a mistake against probably, in the league, the worst player to make a mistake against in terms of who will capitalise on that. You definitely don't want to make 2. Because if you make a mistake, the mindset should be, just get rid of this. It might go out for a throw-in, it might go out for a corner, whatever. But Fish, as soon as Devlin blocked that chance, he should just be sending it. I know in his mind he thinks this is going out for a goal kick, it's fine. But he doesn't even shepherd the ball. He just stands in front of it. It's not like he's blocking off Devlin or anything.
At the very worst, McIver, he either concedes a corner or ushers it into Section G.
Yeah, exactly. But on the flip side of that, Devlin is the perfect Derby player. Just properly never give up, never say die. It looks like a completely nothing position. He's made a good block that got everybody excited, but it's got to go out for a goal kick. Fine, we've got the crowd on our side. And then that's not his mindset. His mindset is, no, I'm getting that still. Manages to play a great ball to Ginnelly. Ginnelly's first touch is very good. It completely takes him away from the defenders and opens up that space. I'll say it now because this is going to be the start of a trend. I thought David Marshall had a bad game and don't understand how Hibs fans are using him as a justification of having a good game. I don't get it. It's a bad save. He literally puts it into the worst possible area.
Totally agree.
And then I've watched the goals back many times. I still don't understand how Shanklin gets there first. There's 3 Hibs defenders and they're all ahead of him. And Shanklin manages to get in. Exactly what you want. Early goal, settle the nerves, get us right on top of them. Because as I say, I felt for the 5 minutes beforehand, they were kind of getting into the game a bit more. They were coming into tackles heavier. They were trying to keep a pace up. And on that moment, it switched.
Is that just down to the fact that it's not solely one error and that there's a catalogue of errors from numerous different players?
I think that is a good point, actually. If it's one player making an error, you can kind of go, right, okay, it happens. But
He's still got time to make amends, whereas you're asking for Will Fish to make amends. Probably Harry McCurdy as well to make amends, having lost the ball. David Marshall certainly to make amends. And numerous, I mean, I think Bashiri, Hanlon...
And Stevenson,
all three in attendance.
Yeah, it was perfect for us, and also you felt it. There was then just a feeling of fear running through the Hibs fans, the Hibs team going, "We're not in a good run at all." That's putting it mildly. We've conceded very early. This could be bad, and I feel Hibs went into their shell a wee bit after that for the next 5 minutes, and that allowed Snodgrass to just start going, right, I'm running this.
What a joy to behold that man is. He really is, isn't he? So good, so cool, so calm, so composed. Lovely left peg. Just a really wonderful footballer. A joy to watch.
Yeah.
He really is. He talked about that 5-minute spell. I mean, Lawrence Shankland ballooned one over the bar. Harry McCurdy, again, another one who would balloon over the bar, albeit both efforts are from tight angles. Kevin Nisbet is next to try his luck. He has a deflected effort which trickles just wide of the post. Joe Newell found Eli Yuan, who was probably Hibs' biggest threat on the day, on the left flank. He feeds Nisbet, but Alex Cochrane, a great block from your mate to divert it wide. But let's cut to the chase. 30 minutes. Oh my God. I don't even know how to sum this up. So Joe Newell fouls Lawrence Shankland, who runs through after receiving from Alex Cochrane. From the resulting free kick, let's just say that chaos ensues.
Yes, that's a good way of putting it.
Robert Snodgrass floats it into the box. Harry Mackay volleys over, looking for a teammate. Hibs look to have cleared, but only as far as Cammy Devlin, who slams towards goal. There's an altercation involving Toby Sibbick and several Hibs players. He stabs home. It's to no avail. Sibbick is alleged to be offside. VAR checks for that. Then we realise there's a VAR check for a penalty. Can you just enlighten us? Because this situation for me was just so farcical, so embarrassing.
Right.
I'm handing over to you because I don't know what I can say.
So I'll give you my perspective on it as it was in the ground, and I'll explain for people who haven't seen the verdict and all this part. I'll explain what the official decision was. So in the ground, I saw it go in and I saw it hit Bashiri's hand, and I immediately called for a penalty. That I was like, that's a penalty, 100%. But then Sibbick scores, so I just start celebrating, and I'm like, I think it was shit.
Didn't we all?
Exactly. And then you're like, it's been disallowed. What's happening? Then VR goes checking for an offside. So naturally, you're like, shit, right? Somebody's. I couldn't tell who it was, but I was like, somebody's offside. And then it's, oh no, wait, actually another check's being done for a penalty, and you're like, you felt Hearts fans go, well, it hit Bashiri's hand, but with the handball rule, how much did he know about it? Then
and
when
the ball's in the back of the net.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Then when Clancy goes over, I feel like we are currently in the period, the kind of first 2-year period of the English Premier League when they got VR, where whenever an official goes over to the monitor, he's going to reverse his decision. It doesn't matter what it is, they've got it in their head, oh, I've been asked to go, I must have been wrong.
So sorry, you were absolutely adamant as soon as you saw Kevin Clancy walk over.
I went, we're getting a pen
that
here.
We were getting a pen.
I was like, we're getting a pen here. I don't know why.
Can't say I didn't feel all that confident. This is my first time at Tynecastle with VAR. So
of course.
The first Edinburgh derby with VAR, the first time I've been at Tiny, because I'm a part-timer these days with VAR, I was thinking, what the hell? I was thinking, if this is it every week, Dad could just have the season ticket for the remainder, because I'm not arsed.
So I did think, I was like, if he's been asked to go and check, this is going to be a penalty. And it was. So, the verdict came out on Tuesday? I can't mind. Yeah, because it was Monday. It was Monday that it happened, so it was the next day. On Tuesday, it came out.
As we record.
As we record this yesterday. And I shared it on Twitter going, I think it's a brilliant clip. I think that show is going to be really good if that's the kind of stuff they're going to do and go that in depth. So, I feel really bad. I can't remember the former referee that is with Richard Foster.
I haven't seen it, mate. Can't comment.
Basically, he explains that in that moment, 4 checks happen, which is why it takes us 6 minutes. The first check is there a foul by Andy Halliday on Joe Newell? Which is what Hibs fans seem to be hanging their hat on, going, there should have been. But no. So that's deemed, no, there isn't a foul.
Sorry, it's almost as if they're clutching at straws, but carry on.
Maybe. Is there a foul on Joe Newell? No. Then, is Toby Sibbick offside? The answer is yes, which he is. His foot's offside. However, the handball by Bashiri is the first action. So, is that a handball? That's a third check. And then the fourth check is, it is a handball. Is that a red card? Is it stopping the ball? Is it denying a clear goal scoring opportunity? I thought that little bit of video, I would highly recommend seeking it out because the referee's speaking about how this is a great example to show refs in training about VR because it has everything. It has multiple, it has a foul, has an offside, has a handball, potential red card, denying the goal scoring opportunity, a smash in the middle of the box. 100. It's a really good learning tool. The decisions are all correct. And I've seen out with some Hibs fans, that seems to be the unanimous view amongst Scottish football that, yeah, the VR decision is correct. It is definitely a handball. Bashiri moves to block the ball with his arm and it hits him. I can understand why it wasn't given as a red because they need to determine, is that going in? If Bashiri doesn't get in the way of it, is it going in? And I think we don't know. I think they saw it was Cammy Devlin and went, no, it's not going in because it's him shooting. So therefore, it's a booking. Yes, the 6.5 minutes was a long time. But I will be honest. For me, it doesn't bother me. Right? I will say this. I know I know that clearly other people don't feel the same, and I fully get that. Marvels. As long as it gets to the right decision, I'm not bothered by how long it would take. I would like it to be shorter, but I can understand why making 4 checks where one of them is to decide a goal that could kill a game and one of them is to decide if it's a red card which could kill a game. You need to be 100% certain. So that's even just saying each check takes 2 minutes. I think normally if you were like, it's a 2-minute VAR check, I think people would understand that, but it's because there was 4 all at once.
Can I ask you something? Would you feel the same way if this was against Hearts?
Yeah, because I agreed with it.
In terms of reaching the correct decision, yeah.
I agreed with it with Devlin against St Johnstone. That's a penalty. The one against Cammy Devlin.
I'm just curious. That's all. Yeah. I mean, I'm just...
Because there will be people who are like, I'm all for it when it's going in their team's direction.
Exactly.
But the Devlin one's are really good. And the Snodgrass one. I think both those are penalties in St Johnstone. And I think that the right decision was done here. I would, of course, like it to be quicker. And I naturally think that will happen. Because look at, in England, it took this amount of time and now it's down to here. There will be some things that take longer. But as long as it gets to the right decision, I'm more than happy. I'm gutted for Sibbick because he didn't get his goal against them. And he clearly...
His performance deserved.
Yeah. He clearly really wants to score against them because he immediately started doing the hands in the ears celebration to them. But at the same time, Shankland has to wait for 6 minutes going, am I getting this penalty? Am I not getting this penalty? The mental strength to be able to... I liked, by the way, Cammy Devlin standing in between him and Marshall. He stopped Marshall saying anything, as if Marshall couldn't just look over Devlin's head and speak to Shankland.
It was a taller, more intimidating figure, perhaps. Yeah, he'd get away with that. But yeah.
Maybe get Rolls or somebody to stand in front. But
it was seeing Cammy against Xander Clark to that second half. That was brilliant.
But Shankland, I think we've spoken about it now on 3 shows. we just have a penalty taker that seems to really annoy Celtic fans that is actually, we're confident he's going to score whenever he steps up to take one.
I'd stick my life on it.
Yeah. And
that's how confident.
Now he's on 18. He's 2 away.
We said that we're not going to touch on.
My point was going to be, I still don't think he'll do it. Our luck on that he'll somehow no do it. He spoke about it in the week. He was like, "Oh, if I did it, I went through the worst run of form in my career."
I saw that.
It's like, yeah, well, it is us. It would be the most Hearts thing ever. Neil McCann was like, he'll get 30. Neil, shush, mate. Wait until he's at 20.
Steady. I'm just looking at the fixtures. So, St Mirren on Saturday. St Mirren again, of course, at Tynecastle, Friday the 13th. Aberdeen, the following Wednesday, the 18th. I was thinking it would be nice if it was at Easter Road, but I don't want that to happen.
It would also be nice if it was at...
sooner.
Actually, all the games that it could happen is against former teams he's played for. And then Hibs.
St Mirren and Aberdeen. Yeah, good point, McIver.
So it would be cool for him to do it against a team he's played for, against, or Hibs. So regardless, it could just get 2.
Look at you with the knowledge. Yeah,
exactly.
If you fancy unleashing, I don't know, 8 in the 4 games, Lawrence, then that'd be great. I'm not going to complain either way. As you say, eventually steps up. The standard skipper slams home beyond David Marshall, despite his best efforts as he went the right way. McIver, we're 2-0 up. We're absolutely cruising. I can't be the only one that was thinking this. I guarantee that you weren't thinking this, but I thought to myself, let's get 3, 4, 5. Let's smash this lot good and proper. What were your thoughts?
I was thinking, this is really good. Please don't concede before half-time. Because I was like, if we concede before half-time, it changes absolutely everything. And we'll fucking get to a moment where I thought we were. But
this is let's just talk about it now, because this was the only other first half highlight.
This was my favourite moment of the game.
Oh my God. No, come on.
Yeah, it was. It was my favourite moment of the game.
I actually know that you're that type of guy that would, rather than look at any of the 3 goals back, you've probably watched this.
I've watched this about 30 times, honest to God.
And this moment epitomises the first half, this particular player's performance. A slack Hearts pass and a poor first touch isn't the end of the world. They're only human. They are at Hearts for a reason. However, Eliuan benefits, races through on goal, aiming to half the deficit, get Hibs back into the game right before halftime. And like a steam train, Toby Sibbick zooms back towards his own goal, makes an inch-perfect recovery challenge. And I thought that Toby Sibbick was absolutely outstanding. I thought, fans are quick to criticise. And I have to say that sometimes, bar probably at Hampden, he has performed really well in Edinburgh derbies. I thought he was brilliant when we drew 0-0 at Easter Road. Was it last season?
Yes, saved that goal, made that goal line clearance
right at the
very
end. Yeah, and I thought it was different class in this one too. I love him till my heart breaks. That's all I have to say.
I said it on Twitter. I can't remember. I don't think I've ever been present at a game where a defensive challenge has been met with a standing ovation that goes for 30 seconds. It was unbelievable. It was like a goal. I've seen people say on Twitter that they were getting a pie and thought we'd scored again because of the reaction to it. It sums up a player who's had a complete turnaround, and it's amazing to see. He was going through that period of time where he clearly had no confidence. His form was really dropping off. He then had that break out the team. It's fantastic man management by Nielsen. And since then, he's just been a different player. As you say, the only exception to him in the Edinburgh derbies was when he allowed them to get back in at Hampden. And then he kind of doesn't do much wrong for the rest of the game. But still, that moment is defining in that game. I couldn't believe how good he played at the weekend. He was
unbelievable.
He was absolutely amazing. And listen, yes, Eliuan should not give him any hope of getting there. He takes way too much time. He's dawdling. I was speaking to Hibs fan Chris Finn, who works with the Terrace, and he was saying, because I was asking him, I was like, do you think that's Yuan not
In a
realising Sibic's there, or Yuan's like, I know he's there, but I've got enough time to find a corner?
What did he say?
Chris's point was, as you just said, that it seems to be Yuan as a whole, that he kind of can lose confidence. He can either do something brilliant or something terrible, and he's trying too hard almost. And we've seen plenty of players like that who are not in great form, so they try something that they wouldn't normally do when the simpler option's there. He should take one touch and hit it. He takes 4, and it allows Sibic. But it's no, Sibic has like 4 yards to make up on him. It's an incredible burst of pace. And just, as I say, the reaction to that was amazing. 3 stands on their feet for half a minute, clapping them. The song starts going. And I was like, right, we've got to half time. That was it for me. I was like, if we don't concede in the first half, we should be all right.
Great tune as well for
Oh, it's so good.
I'm a big fan of that chant. Look, there weren't many sort of chances, anything too noteworthy really in the second half.
No.
But I do want to chat about the changes before we touch on a couple chances, if I can call them those. We made a double change on 55 minutes, and that saw Nathaniel Atkinson and Alan Forrest replace Michael Smith and Andy Halliday. I want to give a quick shout out to Michael Smith. You know, his double shift, Edinburgh Derby win on the Monday, World Darts Champion on the Tuesday. What a week for him. He's absolutely flying, the guy. But when these changes occurred, it did somewhat kill our momentum, didn't it, McIver?
It definitely did. I think part of that was because Forrest isn't a defender at all. He's a right winger. And Nathaniel Atkinson has never played left back in his life, never mind left wing back, and it was his first appearance since the World Cup. He himself put on Instagram that he was rusty, which I think we all saw that.
Well, at least he acknowledges it.
Yeah, exactly. And what it does is, whilst they didn't do a lot in the game, Halliday and Smith were, especially in the first half, were good at just kind of playing the simple pass, keeping it going, making a block here or there, and it meant Hibs couldn't get a proper rhythm going. Hibs brought on McGeady, who I think was their best outfield player. Personally, for me, he came on and made a difference. That was in part because we had to make our changes through forced. Thankfully, Halliday isn't concussed, because I was like, what's happening? How are we getting another concussion here? He's okay. Hopefully Smith's all right. He pulled up after he got his booking against McGeady. McGeady and Cadden in the second half caused us problems. I totally understand why some people will be like, that's unacceptable, that's worrying. We were in complete control and we could have let them back in. First of all, the big thing is we didn't. First clean sheet since Motherwell away, ironically also in a 3-0 win.
Thank God, because I was going to ask you that as a quiz question, so I'm delighted that you mentioned that. I knew I shouldn't have asked that. I'm giving you a gift, so that's great. Your Christmas is well and truly over.
It's New Year, though!
Doesn't matter.
And secondly, it was enforced. It wasn't like this was a tactical decision to try and sit on the lead. We had to get them out, and it was players playing out of position. I think it was all right. They definitely, that's when the game swung in their favour. But it's not like it's the end of the world. It's all right.
Do you think we were fortunate in that the changes would probably do get punished by a better side?
Yes, I think that's fair. I think if, for example...
Does that sort of lead you, to then use the January window wisely and try and bring in a couple reinforcements?
Yeah, that's fair. I think, for example, on Saturday, I think if we have to make those changes, I think St Mirren could punish us.
Yeah,
however,
pretty good at home.
Exactly.
Pretty solid at home.
I think they're unbeaten. I don't know.
Oh, now you're asking.
They're unbeaten against the Old Firm. They beat Celtic and Drury Rangers. I know that, and I can't think of any other time when they would have lost.
No, they lost to Motherwell. I remember it.
Right,
Right at the start of the season, a managerless Motherwell.
God,
I think that's been their only defeat. I know. Now look at the pair of them.
Yeah,
This league is wild.
Tables have turned. Against Hibs, I think it was all right. Obviously, it helps that we're at home. That might be different in the cup game if we have to make similar kind of changes. But I also think, and this is kind of a more general point about the second half, we'll get to John Collins in a bit, where it's very easy to look good when you're 2-0 down, because naturally the team in the ascendancy is going to drop off a bit because it's like, oh, well, we don't need to do anything.
Leanne Crichton said exactly that on Sports Sound.
Yeah.
Couldn't agree anymore. Look, Hibs would try and make a game of it. I mean, Chris Cadden, as you said, aimed to bend one with his left foot into the top corner, but it was a routine stop for Xander Clark. They were creeping back into it. They nearly pulled one back in very fortuitous circumstances. It's a lovely run again by Eli Yuan, who, again, I'm going to reiterate, I thought he was their biggest nuisance.
It's between him and McGeady, I think.
Fair comment. But Alex Cochrane clears onto Joe Newell, and Xander Clark has to make a smart stop to ensure that it remains 2-0. In what was a pretty poor second half performance, again, we were touching on it, our only real opportunity, and I use that term loosely, so Rocky Bashiri nutmeg himself with a header and Barry Mackay pick up. He then tries his luck from range and he tries to bend his effort into the corner, but it's unfortunately wide. Had that gone in, that would have just summed up what was a frankly hilarious afternoon.
It was just, when it happened, everyone, the ground went, oh, because like we hadn't done anything for like 15 minutes. It was just
like sprung into life.
Yeah, and it was as if Rocky was like, I'm bored that back here. I want to do something. And I feel so bad for Rocky.
You right? Always think him out the way, but I get it. He's terrible.
No, but in the sense of so many things that happen to Hibs involve him, and I never think they're his fault ever. Like all the stuff about signing them when they didn't want to, that's not his fault. Then playing them when he was suspended, that's not his fault. Then here, no other player would get nutmegged when the ball's up in the air and he falls into a nutmeg. That doesn't happen.
Where does he rank in terms of like unfortunate cult hero? I'm thinking like the Zibby Malkowski scale.
He's not that level yet. Rank? He's not that level yet because, to my knowledge, he's not done anything in a derby that like we've directly benefited from.
Or punished him. Like had Barry Mackay scored here, you could.
Well, in fairness, he did handle it for the second goal, but that's not like that's a thing that can happen. Like that's not like he didn't catch it. But it's just it hit off his hand.
Like numerous Hibs goalkeepers will top the list, but Rocky Bashiri is gradually ascending up that Malkowski scale.
I will say, I think he's been Hibs' best player this season, right? And I know it's not very hard.
That speaks volumes.
I think he has. He's clearly settled in. Remember the first couple of games where it was like he couldn't trap a ball? That's clearly
trap a bag of sand.
Yeah, he's not at that stage now. With the exception of this freak moment, he generally he's kind of learned to use his power and pace and stuff like that. But I do just feel like every bad thing that happens to him, kind of he's at the epicenter of it, and I do feel bad for. I genuinely feel bad for him.
That makes one of us. Two big chances would fall for the visitors, but were battered away by Xander Clark on his derby debut. I mean, this, when your luck's in, it's well and truly in. Or in this case, when your luck's out, it's well and truly out for Hibs. Not once, but twice from Kyle McGuinness after a Chris Cann cutback. Kai Rolls would clear from Kevin Nisbet in the process too, but how Hibs didn't score with 5 minutes to go to set up a nervy finish is absolutely beyond me, McIver. I mean, as you say, this was key. In terms of us recording only our second clean sheet in the Scottish Premiership this season.
At the time, I thought it was like 2 unbelievable saves by Clark. I thought it was like
it's 2 absolute sitters.
Yeah, and when you watch it back, it's like, now listen, the first one for Clark is a great save. The second one is literally just hit at him, and it's. So the first one you can go, right, listen, he probably should be doing better, but it is a good save. The second one, it's like you have the entire goal. If he aimed literally anywhere else, that's going in. Yeah. But I thought Clark was fantastic generally. The reflex save he makes when Cochrane clears it off Newell is amazing, especially when you watch it back and you realise he's actually shouting at the ref. he's got his hand up, shouting at the ref for offside.
Love that.
And as he does it, he kind of just pushes his hand back and keeps it out.
Save.
Yeah.
You're all welcome for me pointing out who's a free agent. No worries.
We're not doing this again.
Not a problem.
We're not doing this again.
I had to get that in there. Come on. I had to.
Where's GMS these days?
I was going to say, you've been giving me a time. We're Gary Mackay, Stephen, and Andy Halliday. Halliday's been incredible. I always knew he was underrated, but Gary Mackay Stephen is the worst shout I've ever had. So let's move on. There was one final chance to speak of as Heart Midlothian sealed the deal. More Derby Day delight. This was just the first goal is comical. This is equally
this is amazing.
Robert Snodgrass finds Lauren Shankland after a lovely dummy from George Grant.
Yeah, it was.
Again, I was criticising the substitutes. I didn't think Grant did a lot, but this goal plays.
But he gets an assist.
Yeah, so. Exactly. After he came on for Barry Mackay, and of course Stephen Humphries came on for Josh Ginnelly.
No, yeah, well, it was Mackay and Gio.
Grant for Ginnelly and Humphries for Mackay. Sorry. Yeah. But again, lovely dummy from George Grant. He slips it in to Stephen Humphries off the bench, and the big man just breezes past Paul Hanlon, Lewis Stevenson, two Hibs stalwarts, two total losers, slots past David Marshall, 3 goals, 3 points, more misery for Hibernian Football Club. The ideal start to 2023 for everybody of a maroon persuasion, but the defending is horrific. The ball is on halfway and it lands on the penalty spot. I don't know who's culpable. Is it Hanlon? Is it Stevenson? Is it David Marshall? I don't care. Stephen Humphries, bosh. And then the ensuing celebration is incredible. Absolutely tremendous. I had 2-0 in my preview. I was somewhat raging, but then when I saw that he caps it off with a wonderful third goal, that is just hilarious. Like I say, I was absolutely overjoyed. Brilliant.
I have so many points to speak about with this goal because it's equal part, much like the first one, it's equal parts amazing from our perspective and insanely bad from theirs. You ask the question, who's most culpable? For me, the least culpable person is Hanlon. Hanlon gets done by the ball, right? Hanlon gets done by the ball. At his age, I can understand it. You could argue his positioning maybe should be a bit better, but I think he thinks the ball's going out wide to Forrest, so adapts his body shape and then goes, oh, shit, no, it isn't. Then
2023 and he's still starting games for Hibs.
It's insane.
It's incredible.
Well, speaking about that, Lewis Stevenson is next culpable. He has about 2 yards on Humphries, and Humphries treats him like a wee boy. Humphries' movement to him is almost as if, who the fuck are you? Like, what are you doing? I'm here to score. Like, what are you? What? Go away. That's really bad. But when you watch it back and you realise Marshall, I genuinely have no idea what he's doing. The only thing I can think of is that he thinks Stevenson's getting to the ball and is going to pass it to him. So he moves to the side
wider
to receive the pass. Yeah. But you can tell pretty quickly Stevenson's not getting there. But to begin with, Marshall should be coming out.
And he's so slow to move on over.
It's insane.
Honest to God, see when you see where the pass starts from Grant, and it's literally inch perfect on the penalty spot.
Yeah.
How can it travel that distance?
I don't understand. I just don't get it at all. But on the flip side, Humphries is so good. I've done it. I've done the thing you shouldn't do, and I'm just in love with him,
haven't you?
I just love him.
I know.
He's hitting the gritty and everything, and
What about his comments? Scoring against Hibs is better than scoring against Fiorentina. I mean, as if I could not love that man anymore. He's begging the move, the messages about Craig Gordon, basically calling out Hibs scumbag fans for wishing like death upon Craig Gordon after his injury. He wants the move. We all want the move. Come on, Hearts, let's make it happen. I don't see why not. there has to be some sort of financial deal agreed with Wigan. They're not in the best.
They've got no money.
They're not in the best situation, let's just
Yeah.
say. So come on, let's make it happen.
But oh god, it was so good. It was so
good.
funny. And just, yeah, Humphries just seems to get it completely by his tweets, by afterwards, how he was like, for weeks I've been saying I'm going to come on and score against Hibs.
He was calling Lawrence Shankland the best striker in the league.
Yeah,
Like, this man
exactly.
is just a grade A wind-up merchant. I love him. I really, really do.
And this is... He's going to leave.
No, I know.
Handle it.
You just add him to the list. Talking about loanees, Ellis Sims looks to be getting his chance at Everton.
I feel so bad for him.
They are rank, but I was just thinking in terms of like the list. I mean, it goes back to like Ricardo Fuller, Lee Miller. In terms of strikers,
yeah,
Ellis Sims. I really hope Stephen Humphries isn't added to the list because that would be so nice.
But yeah, just a great day. And then after
a great day.
Lee Johnson just was like, I hate all my team. I hate them. I've not spoken to them. They're all rubbish. Like, what is he doing?
I thought you were going to go into John Collins'
That was going to be next. We'll get to that now. Let's speak about that now.
I'm just realising that folk from the borders know next to nothing about football.
Yeah, basically 2 for 2 so far. Listen, we were in the car as my dad was giving me a lift back.
I saw your tweet and I had to go check this out. Sorry.
It's insane. It's so funny that everyone in the studio just starts having a go at him as well. Rory Hamilton, Leanne Crichton, Mikey Stewart, they're all just like, you're clueless. What are they on about? Because it says so much when Michael Stewart's the one talking sense.
Am I right in saying that John Collins' last job in Scottish football was as assistant to Ronnie Deila at Celtic?
In terms of a coaching capacity, yeah.
Right. And that was what, a good 5-6 years ago?
Yeah. 6-7 now.
There's a reason for that.
I saw a Hibs fan say that Collins is like almost fanatical in his way of wanting football played the right way.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I get that.
So to him, that second half, Hibs did deserve something at the game because they had a lot of the ball. They were creating a lot of chances. They were keeping it on the deck. They were making passes.
Aside from the Kyle McGuinness shots, did they really look like scoring?
Never.
And the Yuan in the first half.
Yeah.
I can't remember. Like, it's all right huffing and puffing, but it wasn't really at no point did I feel all that threatened, if I'm honest. Exactly. I was confident that Hearts were going to keep a clean sheet pre-match, which was bold considering our awful defensive record. But given how light they are up top, I mean, Kevin Nisbet was absolutely anonymous.
Again.
And that's a guy that's come back from injury and has been in form leading up to the match.
Yeah, he has been. Cochrane and Rolls did very well at marshalling him.
Can I ask you something? Mm-hmm. As a pundit, perhaps the trickiest question that I'm going to ask you all episode. John Collins or Tam McManus? Choose your fighter.
Oh, Jesus Christ. I'm going to go with Collins purely because...
As the better or the one that you'd want to knock out the most?
as the better to listen to, because he says such mental shit, you can at least find it funny. McManus is just
top
dumb.
career, if we're being honest.
Oh, like Collins is like a professional, was like second to none. Like he was unbelievable. But he's a shit pundit who knows fuck all what he's talking about. Just a great day.
A great day. But we enter a pretty depressing month, if I'm being honest. January isn't my favourite of the year. However, one consolation is that the January transfer window is, of course, now open. McIver, before we get into the quiz, I just want to ask you about 3 players that Heart Midlothian have been linked with. The first of which is a player that we know all too well about. Callum Patterson plays anywhere and everywhere. The 28-year-old is currently plying his trade with Sheffield Wednesday. He turns 29 in October. Is this doable for you?
I think it's got a lot less doable in the last 6 weeks.
Because of Wednesday's form.
And the fact that he's suddenly played every single game because they've had a massive injury problem and he's been participating in Wednesday's unbeaten run. The only reason I'm really familiar with Wednesday is because Newcastle have got them in the Cup. So I've been kind of paying attention to them. That's this weekend.
Big club Wednesday.
Yeah, it's at Hillsborough as well. So I'm worried. But Patterson will be playing in that, and he's been very good. So I think if we maybe tried to do this a wee bit earlier, which obviously we couldn't, but we maybe would have been in a better position. But generally, I just hope we get it done. I want him back.
There you go, troops, for that cup game. Lump Callum Patterson and 1-0 Wednesday on your scorecasts.
Exactly.
The next one is a 21-year-old forward/winger who goes by the name of Yutaro Oda. He plays with Vissel Kobe in his native Japan. I don't have the foggiest about the guy. You, I'm assuming, don't have the foggiest about the guy, but you seem somewhat excited about the potential signing.
I'm a guy with Star Wars tattoos, and we might be signing Yoda. Yes, I'm buzzing.
Oh, dear.
I think he's, by the sounds of it, he's got a very good pedigree. He's in a position that we kind of have not had a lot of consistency with this season, out with Gino. Really? Gino's been our best wide player. I'm interested in it. It's from Vitesse Kobe, who are, to my knowledge, the best team in Japan, Iniesta's team, the team that Kyogo came from. It's good pedigree. I'm looking forward to him. He seems small, he seems quick. He seems different to Ginnelly. He seems more like a Mackay, where he likes to have the ball at his feet and take people on rather than run.
Everybody's been looking at that goal record and are instantly worried, aren't they?
I know, and I think it's a bit of a shame because so much of it is off the bench and he's so young. So I think he needs to go somewhere where he's going to get a run in the team. And we haven't really had anybody on the left nail down a place. So if he can come in and hit the ground running, I'm looking forward to it.
Fair point. And I know you're looking forward to that, but the signing, or the potential signing that's been built up by Barry Anderson and a couple others, will have you absolutely jumping for joy as Garang Kuol. Am I pronouncing that right?
Garang Kuol.
The 18-year-old forward is with Newcastle United. He was part of the Australia squad in Qatar.
Yeah.
And has previously been with Central Coast Mariners, who we signed Kai Rolls from. He's obviously joined your English club.
Yeah.
But you'd love that. Given that you obviously talked about Elliot Anderson potentially signing on loan, and that's fallen through. But the young Aussie could be the latest. To swap Tyneside for Tynecastle.
Yes.
There you go.
It would be signing of the season. It would be ridiculous. It would be. I think I've said on Twitter. I think there's a close to 0% chance of it happening. He's literally in the top 50 wonder kids. He's been nominated for the Golden Boy. He is going to be next level, and I don't think we have the capabilities. The advantage we have is that we have always international teammates playing for us. So
these Aussie connections just
Eddie Howe has spoken extensively about the fact that he wanted to get him in. His work permit took fucking ages, but in the World Cup helped him get the amount of points that he needed.
Did I say that he was born in Egypt?
Yes, he was born in Egypt, and he was a refugee to Australia.
Right. And so I take it that's had an impact on his work.
There was a bunch of patter, and then it was, he's played in the World Cup, and he's actually got minutes at the World Cup. So that really helps your points in terms of getting a work permit.
Because you've got to have a particular
certain amount
of
stuff.
Appearances, is that?
Yeah. So that helped. Eddie Howe immediately has been like, we want him to play at a certain level. So Newcastle have been loaning out players such as Matty Longstaff to League Two, who's just on his ACL. Mansfield, after Aberdeen. And Matty Longstaff's, I think, 21, 22. This guy's 18 and is like, we want him playing minimum championship quality because he's that good. He'll be able to do that. Obviously, it's up to English media, punditry and personnel what they think Hearts is in comparison to that level from January to May, because that's how long we'd get him. He's been linked with clubs like Reading and stuff like that. They might want him to play in the English game.
Reunite with Andy Carroll.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
Another one of your favourites.
They might want him to play in the English game. He's a very wee guy, so they might want him playing in the English game to kind of toughen him up. I would argue you could get that up here as well.
100%.
He's a very direct, quick player with his feet. The ball just sticks to him. It's unbelievable. There might be the worry that he's not going to be able to do that as much, but considering that we're a good team who are creating a lot of chances, he's going to get that ball to feet. I would be absolutely delighted with it. And I would fully put myself on the line and say he'll be a success. I don't see how he can't be.
Nice. I really hope that it doesn't reek of Ben Woodburn, if I'm being honest. But he probably has a greater pedigree than Ben Woodburn.
Ben Woodburn will never in his career get to the levels that Garang's at now.
Wow.
Sorry, Richard Cobb, but that's the reality of the situation.
Big words from the big man. That'll be a barrel load of abuse coming our way on Twitter from Richard Cobb as a result.
Yep, exactly.
Nice
what's different? What's that any different?
The day does end with a Y, I suppose. Yeah, fair point.
Exactly.
Right. January's done. Derby's done. On to the quiz. The best segment of the show.
I think we're going to beat in St Mirren, by the way.
I was going to say we could talk about St Mirren if you want.
I don't think we will. I think we're going to.
Paisley.
I think it's going to be 1-1.
I could see that. But
they just seem really good at New St Mirren Park.
Not a great result away at Kelly.
They don't have Erehon. He'll be banned still. Who's their best player? Have they got that Bacchus back?
Yeah,
his name?
That's if he's not sold to Rangers by then, like the record report. Oh god,
is that a thing?
Oh mate, search it. And today they've been linked with Shanklin
through Barry Ferguson going. I think they'll have a look at him.
So there you go. Don't know if Mark O'Hara's back, but anyway,
I don't know.
Well,
who cares?
It wouldn't be the worst point, but
no, I'd take a point.
Like all three. The quiz, right?
Right, here we go.
Done enough to about. So, got 2 general questions, a multiple choice, true or false, and of course the coveted who am I. So, we're kicking off with both your general questions. The first of which, there's no real theme. It's kind of Hearts this season.
That's fine.
A little bit of Derby stuff. Yeah. First question. After the most recent run of results, Jesus, tricky for me to say, in the cinch, there's one team that haven't won away from home in the league this season. Who is it?
Right, it's not Hibs because they won opening day against St Johnstone. Rangers, Celtic, and us have. Motherwell. Yes, they have at St Mirren. Have St Mirren.
Oh no, maybe I planted that earlier. Oh, I shouldn't have done that.
Have St Mirren. Trying. Oh, they beat Aberdeen, but was that at Aberdeen? No, that was it. No. My brain is either Tilly or St Mirren. But St Mirren, I'm going to go with Kilmarnock.
Is the correct answer. Well done, McIver. Good start.
Get in.
Your next question. Lauren Shankland scored a brace on Derby Day, but who was the last player on either side to score twice in an Edinburgh derby? So both answers, the last player for Hearts and the last player for Hibs.
The last player for Hibs is Martin Boyle,
who netted twice in a 2-0 win for Hibs, their last
Scott
victory
Allen
in
got
the
both
fixture
assists.
On Boxing Day 2019.
Right.
2019.
Right, hold on. So Shankland did that. Then it was 1-1, so that doesn't count. Then I'm now random game. Oh, it was Halliday.
Correct.
Yeah.
3-1 win against
my brain was
Newcastle.
wait, what? This seems more obvious, yeah. Right. 2 for 2. Come on.
Good start. 2 for 2, as you say. Your third question is, how many of the Jambos, this is your multiple choice, so don't worry, 35 league goals so far this season have come from open play? Is it A, 20, B, 21, C, 22, or D, 23?
Right. I can think. Well, Shankland scored 8 penalties. How? And he's also scored a Snodgrass free kicks. That's it. How many did you say? We scored 35.
We scored 35, yeah.
So that's 8, 9. Halliday scored 2. That's 11. So that's 26. What was the highest number? What was D? 23?
23.
23, right. So I'm missing 3 goals at least somewhere.
No, you said 11. That takes you to 24 from 35.
Oh, it does, yeah. I thought it was at... I thought I did come on to him. I'm going to go... What? Was 21 an option?
21 was an option. So
I'm
it's A20, B21, C22, or D23.
I'm going to go B21.
And you've hit the woodwork because the correct answer is C22.
I was gonna. In my brain, I was like, it's either 21 or 22. I should have went 22. Fair play. 21 out of 35.
22 out of 35, eh? So there you go. Your true or false? I had to pay homage to the celebration. The griddy, which is the dance that Stephen Humphrys did after scoring that third goal, originated in NBA.
No, it didn't. There's dispute as to where it originated. It was originally the rapper that I can't remember his name in 2017. Mm-hmm. And then, I can't remember his name, but for the Minnesota Vikings, did it when he scored a touchdown in 2018. So that was the NFL.
Is the correct answer, yes. False. I thought I'd catch you out, but well done.
See,
you know you're gritty.
And the only benefit is I'm also a fan of American football, so I know that.
Fair enough. Okay.
Right.
So 3 from 4.
I'll take it.
Well.
Regardless of the who am I, I'll take. And I was only one off the multiple choice, I know.
That's it. A minimum 60%. It's looking good. It's looking good.
Right.
Right. You who am I? If you get this, I'll be very impressed.
Fuck off.
Right. I began my youth career in Germany, the nation of my birth, before signing for Hearts as a youth player. I scored my first professional goal alongside 2 fellow Jambos who also bagged their first professional goals that day, all of whom were on loan at a lower league Scottish club, with our loan club winning 3-2. I'm from a footballing family, as my uncle and cousin both played professionally. I went on to play in Bulgaria, Germany and Belgium after making just 7 Hearts appearances, but I've only been capped at under 16 and under 17 level. Who am I?
I can't think of a fucking single German that's played for us except Marcel Langer. So it's no him. Right.
I'm getting this man's wiki up because I know that you can ask questions.
I've got about 4 in my head, so I need to narrow it down.
Good, that's what we want.
Right. So he was a youth player who's German, but he's the best he's played for is under 16.
Do you want me to? I think you need to listen to this a little bit more carefully.
Okay.
I began my youth career in Germany, the nation of my birth, before signing for Hearts as a youth player. I scored my first professional goal alongside 2 fellow Jambos who also bagged their first professional goals that day, all of whom were on loan at a lower league Scottish club, and our loan club won 3-2. I'm from a footballing family, as my uncle and cousin both played professionally. I went on to play in Bulgaria, Germany and Belgium after making just 7 Hearts appearances, but I've only been capped internationally at under 16 and under 17 level.
Oh, so the only thing I had wrong was that he's also played for the under 17. Right. He must be German, because if I started my youth career in Germany, the country of my birth, that means they're German. Okay. Right, they're not going to be fucking German then. You're going to fuck this. Right, I have a weirdly specific question.
Okay.
Did you say... Well, no, this isn't the question. Is one of the clues that he played at a Scottish lower league team?
Yes.
Right. My first question is, can you tell me between what years he played competitively in Scotland? So not when he joined us on as a youth player, but from when he made his first appearance in, like, if it was on loan, if it was at Hearts,
okay,
until he left.
Well, this player was a member of the successful under-19 squad who finished second behind Celtic during the 2010-11 Scottish Premier League under-19 season. The loan that we're discussing was made, that deal was made on the 3rd of November 2011, and it was to a then Scottish First Division side. But was only until the 4th of January 2012.
So he has... So that means he was part of the squad that won the cup. If he was back. If the loan was back. I have a question that is stupid to ask. But if it's a yes, I know who it is.
Okay.
But It's Nathan. Right. Do I just go with clubs? I have a name in my head, but the problem is,
Okay.
if I ask the question in the clubs, I don't know any other club he played for except us. But the question that I have is so narrow. It's literally about a single game.
Right.
That it's like, if it's no, then I've wasted the question.
I think you're on to a winner here.
I've thought of another way to phrase it that is equally niche, but it at least gives a bigger thing. Was he touted as being good at set pieces?
Yes, MacGyver, he was.
My guess is Denis Peryachenko. Yes, get in. Do you know how I got that?
Go on.
Because if you'd said his loan was for the 11-12 season, I wouldn't have got it.
I would have been too generous.
But that's why I asked specifically about that, because I was like, the first.
As soon as you said that the squad that won the cup, I was like, oh shit, I'm in bother here.
Because that's what did it. I was like, Peryachenko was part of that squad. Where is Peryachenko actually? So he was born in Germany, but what is his nationality?
Born in Germany, he represents Ukraine internationally.
Of course, he's the only Ukrainian to ever play for us.
Despite being born in Germany.
Yeah, despite being born in Germany.
So yeah, I thought I could maybe. I was very tempted to try and lead you down this German line, but listen very carefully.
You did. You worded that well enough that if I
could have caught you out.
Yeah, if I'd complained about, well, he's German. No, you didn't say that. You didn't specifically say.
I just said he was born there. Yeah,
Who is his uncle and cousin?
His uncle and cousin. Let's have a little look.
Because none of the clues. I will say this right now. None of the clues help me. Literally none of them.
Solid.
None of the clues.
So his uncle is Volodymyr Prichenenko, who is an assistant coach with SC Tavria Simferopol. And his cousin, of course, know all about them. Yep. And his cousin is 31, but it says, according to Wikipedia, that he's a former former football defender. So no idea if he's retired or not.
Right.
And his name is Stanislav Prichenenko.
Fair play.
And he also holds Russian citizenship. There you go.
Who was his loan at?
On the 3rd of November 2011, Prichenenko joined Scottish First Division side Raith Rovers on loan until the 4th of January 2012. On the 26th of November, he was
Walker.
On the 26th of November, he was one of 4 on-loan Jambos named in the starting lineup for the 3-2 victory over Hamilton Academical at Starks Park. All 3 Raith goals were scored by on-loan Hearts players as Prichenenko, Jason Holt, and David Smith each netted their first professional goal. There you go.
I think that's when Walker was on loan though as well.
Walker went on loan. He was maybe the 4th.
Yeah, maybe I. I'm buzzing with
about his clubs.
Yeah, who are these clubs? Because I want to see if this could. Because imagine if I hadn't asked that question. Imagine if I'd asked the clubs question. Let's see what would have happened.
So his youth career: Energy Cottbus, Tennis Borussia Berlin, Hearts, Raith Rovers on loan, Sevastopol in Ukraine, CSKA Sofia in Bulgaria, Union Berlin, RWS Brussels, Beerschot up until 2021, so he might have just missed Lawrence Shankland, and now he plays for Dainsa.
Don't know.
No idea.
That would have fucked me completely if I hadn't went with, because obviously
so I was hoping that you'd ask the club question because you've got a tendency for that.
That's all we heard was we've got this guy who's good at set pieces, and then in the semi-final, it was like, here we go, he's going this in. So my question was going to be
set pieces I've ever seen.
My question was going to be, did he take an infamous free kick in the semi-final?
I thought you might ask that. And then when you said, did he have a relationship for set pieces or a reputation for set pieces? I was like, oh shit.
I'm buzzing with that. So
I knew those were the 2 questions. Well done, mate.
That's 8-4. 8-4 now.
Well, that was impressive.
Buzzing with that.
I thought that was a tricky one.
That was a hard one. The clues were no help at all. I got my question, the first question really helped. See, this is why you have to think out the box with questions. No, just what years did he play? You for fucking ages were like, what managers did he have? As if that narrows it down at all.
Oh, terrible.
Amazing. But yes, I got it right. I really want to know how many folk got that. That'd be really interesting.
If any.
I'd be very, very impressed. But yes, massive thank you for listening to this. It's been a very, very happy episode. We'll probably be back to the Adam shouting at shit next week when we inevitably drop points in Paisley. But until then, we hope you have enjoyed this episode. If you have, please leave a review on your podcast platform of choice. It massively helps. If you've been watching this on YouTube, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. That also massively helps us. We're at Perth to Paisley on all forms of social media, perthtopaisley@gmail.com as well if you want to send us over an email. Adam, where can they get you on social media?
You can get me on all the socials at Adam T. Kendall. Maybe even pop up with a Dennis Prichinenko clip of that free kick at Hampden, just for a treat for y'all. What about yourself, mate?
I am at dmacarver22. We'll be back next week to discuss the St Mirren fallout, preview St Mirren, anything else that happens in between. But until then, we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Mujahideen!